Welcome to Ask the Expert, a web series designed to provide you with practical information on business and finance. I'm your host, Nicole Pride, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the 2024 New Year. And we are so happy to have you here today. And we are kicking off our season with none other than Dr. DeForest B. Soaries Jr., who is obviously no stranger to the DeFree movement, who is our visionary, who will be with us today to give us highlights about what's to come. So happy New Year, Reverend Soaries.
Happy New Year, and I am rested and ready to go. And I'm also praying for you and the family. I know you've had a few minor health challenges over the holidays, but if you feel as good as you look, then you'll be in great shape.
Thank you. You know what they say, faith it until you make it. So So, Reverend Soaries, it's the new year. Before we kick off with, talking about DeFree and all the upcoming events and initiatives, just tell us, how did 2023 go for you? What went well that you want to carry into this year?
23 was a great year. I think the highlight of 2023 was having a new host for our web series, Ask the Expert, a young lady that I've known since she was a teenager and a brilliant communicator and just a great person in the person of Nicole Pride. So that was a highlight. The
Thank
highlight of
you.
2023 was to have a spokesperson. And I'm very serious about that because, the internet specifically and just media in general is saturated with things that just don't matter. And I think one of the biggest threats we have to our spiritual growth, to our physical health, and certainly to our financial health is distractions. We are
Mm,
distracted by nonstop media. We're distracted by nonstop marketing. We're distracted by silliness and frivolity and all kinds of ratchetness. And so that,
Misinformation.
yeah, it's really bad. And
Hmm.
so to the extent that we can infiltrate the space where people are hearing messages with content, the kind of content that you have helped us deliver, and the kind of content that Credential helps us promote, I think that's important. And before COVID, we made a decision at DeFree that we had to spend more time with online resources. And we did that because we were traveling in groups of 5, 6, 7 people around the country, going to churches, sponsoring events and workshops. And it was just not financially sustainable.
Hmm.
To buy airplane tickets and hotel rooms for staff, it just didn't make long-term sense. And so we began developing our online academy, which I'll talk about that in a moment. We built out our $1 billion challenge platform, and we started doing our online training and then our online events. So when COVID came, we were pretty well prepared to use the internet, to use various media platforms, YouTube and Facebook, to help spread the word. And that's why I define this as a highlight, because as I look at 2024, I think with your help and with Credential sponsorship, we've really perfected the art of putting together good, strong content. Now for 2024, the goal is to get more people to see it. And I've got a team of people that have been looking at ways to distribute and expand and scale the content from Ask the Expert. So look forward to people stopping you in airports, Nicole, and writing you fan mail, because we plan to blow you up, as the young people say.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your kind words. And it's pretty easy. This is a solid show. It delivers such great information. You already have a solid following. So it's just, I just kind of dropped in the placeholder there. So, um, tell us, resolutions, do you believe in them or don't you?
Well, I believe in goals.
Mhm.
Resolutions are, I think, just a euphemism for goals. And as you well know, because you've known me so long, I believe in written goals. I believe in writing down our goals in 5 categories: intellectual goals, financial goals, personal goals, professional goals, and spiritual goals. And when you write down your goals, all of the evidence is that you are more likely to achieve those goals than if you have goals that are not written, or certainly if you have no goals at all. And so I'm much more focused on goals than I am resolutions. And I believe that a goal should have a timetable and then a tactical aspect. So you're not simply saying, I'd like to be at a certain destination by a certain time, but you actually plow into the goal and describe what is your how. How will you reach the goal that you set? And in the area of finances, I'm encouraging everyone. I've got these 24 tips for 2024, and today is day 3. And each day I release a new tip on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And those tips are designed to help people think concretely about their finances. Sometimes we are so traumatized by our financial situation that we get frozen. We're frozen physically, we're frozen mentally, we're frozen emotionally. And so the way to get unfrozen is to take out a pen, get a piece of paper, or to get an app or some kind of digital tool and write down, I'd like to pay off X number of dollars in debt by December 31st, 2024. I'd like to save X number of dollars by 2024. Because once you write down your goal, then you can back yourself into a strategy. And what DeFree is attempting to do is to offer people various strategies that will help them reach your goal. It is not our job to tell you what your goal is, but it is our job to give you options and strategies towards reaching that goal. And that's what we look forward to in 2024.
I know, and that's excellent. I mean, great resources, and no better time than now at the beginning of a new year to use these resources, right? So everyone can go to the website and see all of the different tools available to help with your goals and to help you move forward. So that's pretty awesome. So, one last thing, do you have a goal that you mind sharing with us that is motivating you right now?
You mean a personal goal?
Any goal?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, as you know, I've written 12 books. 4 of those books are what I call meditations for financial freedom.
Mhm.
Years ago, after people took the 12-step DeFree course, they would write me or call me and say, okay, I've done the course. How do I stay focused? How do I stay motivated? How do I stay on track? So I started sending email to people every day, encouraging them, giving them a Bible verse, giving them a prayer to pray. And that email turned into a book. And it turned into a book because one of my intellectual mentors was talking about turning email into books. So
Hmm.
when I turned it into a book, I decided that I wouldn't just use miscellaneous scriptures, but I would literally start with Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So I'm going through the whole Bible. When I finished this meditation series, I would have had a reader go through the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation, picking out key scriptures that taught key lessons about finance. And and so now I've got meditations 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my key goal for 2024 is to do meditations for financial freedom volume 5, at least volume 5. I've started working on it. And if the Lord gives me strength, I'll do at least 2 more meditations books in 2024. So the goal is to get people to read meditations 1, 2, 3, and 4,
Mhm.
and then for me to complete meditations number 5.
That's awesome. I love it. And, I'm just thinking it'd be great if you can work that into an app too. Then people can just like pick scripture and look at the scriptures and that resonate with them. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about it. What I am working on, by the way, is turning all of the meditation books into audiobooks.
Mm,
Um, and I found an AI tool that I'm working towards helping me do that. It's wonderful. What you do is you let the AI platform clone your voice.
I've heard
I've uploaded my voice to the platform,
scary.
and then it goes to a process where the team at the AI platform really takes your voice and then expands it so that it could be used to read any content. And so right now it's in process. Once they finish with my voice, then I can upload my book to the platform, and my voice will read my book and turn it into an audio book. Isn't that great?
That's such a time saver. That's awesome.
Oh my Lord.
Awesome awesome is somewhat scary a little bit at the same time, but,
I'm not scared at all. You know, people talk about AI being so scary. AI has been around for a long time.
this
You
is
know,
true.
voice recognition, face recognition. You know, when you do work in the digital space, AI has been functional. It just hasn't been broadly accessible. But now
Mhm.
that AI is broadly accessible, my first project is Chat GPT. And I
Mhm.
use Chat GPT to edit some of my work, to make it
Mhm.
to dress it up. I don't allow Chat GPT to generate my work, but I
Mhm.
use Chat GPT as an editor, and there are times when it makes great suggestions. So
Right.
that's number one. Number two is this text to speech,
Mhm.
where in my own voice. And then the third one, the
Tell
third
it.
AI project for 2024
Mhm.
is to actually upload my face so that I can go from text to speech with video, and I can
Oh.
do video shorts like right now. Right now,
Mhm.
all of my shorts, I've had to go into the studio and record myself. So
Mhm.
I had to record 24 tips for 2024.
Mhm.
Once I perfect this AI tool, I'll be able to just type in the text,
Yeah.
and they already have my face.
Yeah.
And so my face will speak for me, and I can go
You're on the beach.
right, right. So AI is a big part of my personal strategy for 2024.
I hear you. And it's not so much AI that people are scared of, it's humanity because humanity has proven itself to be troublesome.
Well, yeah, we've perfected the art of hating each other, of attacking each other, of identifying the negative, and
Mhm.
you know, it's exacerbated by wars and politics and power. So I think we're going to have to reclaim our humanity, to your point,
Mhm.
and figure out what does it take to be human. And
That's
see, that's what really that's what Christianity is. When people talk about religion and Christianity and the Bible, I think they get distracted again by some of the behaviors and some of the institutional flaws. And so when you say Jesus, people think church and deacons or bishops or archbishops, when the fact is, Jesus for the Christian is the ultimate example of what God had in mind for humans.
Mhm.
So Jesus, more
Mhm.
than any religious leader, more than any philosopher, what Jesus represents is the epitome of the human possibility. So
Mm.
love for your neighbor, forgiving your enemies, treating people the way you want to be treated. That's who Jesus is.
Yeah.
And then as a bonus, Jesus offers life after death. So
Mhm.
in Jesus, you have the personification of the ultimate human experience with the reward of life after life is no longer present on earth. So that's what is so compelling about Christianity. And I think for those of us who are seeking the maximum in our human experience, we have found it as Christians, right, resident in Jesus.
Mhm. And that's what motivates you and others to have great initiatives like DeFree, right? This is the ultimate way in which we can show our humanities doing initiatives like these.
Well, it is. You know, I did something, Nicole, over the holidays I don't always do. And that is, I read some of the comments under a couple of my posts.
No.
So I did something, I forget which post it was, and I was talking about finances. And so someone posted that I should be talking about salvation and not money. Right.
Mm.
And you know, it's so interesting because when you talk about salvation, you're talking to humans, and once humans are saved, or once humans make a commitment to Christ, once humans epitomize all of their religious options, they still have to eat. We still have to
Mhm.
pay rent. So
Right.
if we care enough about humans to want to help them after they die, we should also care enough to help them before they die.
Okay.
And that's the example of Jesus. Jesus not only preached eternal life, but Jesus fed hungry people
Very
and,
practical.
and healed sick people. And that's what DeFree is. DeFree
Mhm.
is an effort to help people deal with practical solutions to financial challenges to epitomize their life experience.
Mhm. Well, what are you most proud about for 2023? Keeping that context in mind with
Well,
DeFree.
a little known fact, I didn't even know it. When we built out the DeFree online course, we realized that DeFree, although it started in churches, had to go beyond churches, meaning there were people who would need the information and who would embrace the information, who either did not go to church or who didn't have access to a church that was involved with DeFree. So we
Mhm.
said, let's put the DeFree course online for free, and we raised money, we got sponsors, and we were able to produce a very effective and user-friendly DeFree online course. Now, what I discovered after we did this work was that the average completion rate for people who start online courses is 5 to 15%.
Mhm.
So out of every 100 people that sign up for an online course, about 5 to 15 are expected to complete the course. The DeFree online course has a 30% completion rate.
It's
That means
amazing.
that 30 people out of every 100 actually go through the course, they complete it and get their certificate. What
And
that means is that
And
the
can I say
content,
something? That's
yeah,
even more amazing because it's free. A lot of people don't value the free things,
no,
right?
you're right.
Because
And
they
I've
don't
been,
have skin in the game, and that's even more impressive you have such a high completion rate.
yeah, I know, and I've been under a lot of pressure for years to add more cost because of that very reason. But I'm just committed to giving away as much as we can afford to give away.
Mhm.
So I'm very proud of that. I didn't realize that was a major accomplishment. The other little fact that functions behind the scenes is that we have a tremendously high open rate for our email. Now,
Mhm.
listen, one of my tips is to unsubscribe from email. I get email so much that almost every week I'm unsubscribing from email that I just don't want. And we have an unusually high rate of open email from
Mhm.
and Angela and her team. They do a great job sending out good email every Monday. We send out email for those who don't get the email. You can sign up on our email list. Go to dfree.com and just sign up. We almost never sell things through email. It's not really designed for commerce, but I'm proud of that because it indicates that people have an appetite for what we send.
Mhm.
The other indication, Nicole, is that when you have a high open rate, it means you're not sending too much email. Because often, if you bombard people with too much email, they'll ignore all of it.
Mhm.
And the content is good. We generally send out our email on Mondays and give people a sense of what DeFree is doing for the week. So it's little things like that that give me great pride because
Mhm.
we also have a very low unsubscribe rate, meaning people that get the email and say, listen, just don't send me anything else. So
Mhm.
it's a real solid community, and I'm hoping we can
Yeah.
build more resources to ensure that people, when they do open the email, they'll be receiving something of value.
Well, that's awesome. So we know that people watch these videos too. They not only are they here live, but they come back and they watch these videos later in the week and they keep going. So let's let them know what they have to look forward to for the year.
Well, we certainly are going to continue promoting our online course, as I mentioned, and
Mhm.
we're going to continue promoting our $1 billion challenge. We're up to about $40 million in debt reduction. I promised God
Mhm.
that I would help 100,000 people pay off at least $10,000 in debt, which
Mhm.
would create $1 billion
Mhm.
in assets.
Mhm.
And so far, we have about 12,000 people signed up
Oh,
with the $1 billion challenge. So I'm about
excellent.
78 or 88,000 people to go. So we'll be expanding that.
Mhm.
Then we're doing a citywide campaign in partnership with the city of Newark.
Mhm.
The First Lady of Newark has made a commitment to help 1,000 women do better financially. And so our team is working with the mayor's team and the First Lady's team in Newark to build out a strategy. We're launching that in a couple of weeks And we're starting with the First Ladies Women's Group and then expanding to the whole city. That's a very exciting project. We've
Yeah.
had citywide efforts led by churches, but we've never had a citywide DeFree movement led by the city itself. And
Mm.
so that's very exciting. Linda
That's
Baraka.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up in 2024. And then, of course, we're taking two groups to Ghana.
Mm.
Actually, we're taking 3 trips to Ghana.
Mhm.
And Ghana, the reason Ghana is so important is because we have a partnership with a local king of the Eastern District.
Mhm.
And our team in Ghana, which manages a lot of our work, has committed not only to supporting us administratively, but in terms of content, DeFree is being used and translated for Ghanaians to improve their financial capacity. And so we go to Ghana and we not only talk about the principles of DeFree, but we're involved in community development projects. We built a library, we built a health clinic, we're building a job training facility for children at a deaf school
Mhm.
for the deaf. And so we're expanding our footprint in Ghana. And the South African Baptist Convention has voted formally to embrace DeFree in South Africa. So every Baptist church in South Africa will be trained to do DeFree. We're translating the content into South African culture and South African monetary denominations. And so it's very exciting.
That is awesome. And so, can you share or tell everyone your official role with the kingdom in Ghana?
Well, the king, who is known as the Ochehini, the king of the Ochiman Kingdom, was a member of our church, First Baptist, until 1999, when his brother, who had been the king, died, and the community invited him to assume the leadership. And I have been traveling back and forth supporting his leadership since 2007. And he gave me the honor of installing me as the chief of development. The title is in Koswahini. And under that title and under that banner, I have worked hard to contribute to the development of his community surrounding his palace in similar fashion to the way we did community development around the church in Somerset at First Baptist.
Mm. So amazing. Just the international thumbprint that you and this organization has. For your rollout in South Africa, does that mean you'll start to take trips in South Africa like you do in Ghana?
Yeah, we took a trip in December of 2022 to South
Okay.
Africa, and we had meetings with leaders. We spoke at the South Africa Baptist Convention in 2023. They actually had a convention vote to embrace DeFree. Some of the churches had been involved, but it was not the official program of the convention. And so in 2024, well, we'll certainly at the very least send a delegation, and then 2025 we'll have a large trip that we'll make available to the whole DeFree community to visit South Africa. South Africa is perhaps the most beautiful place on planet Earth, but in many ways, the post-apartheid South Africa have found Black people as poor as they were before apartheid was dismantled. And so there's tremendous need in South Africa among Black people, and we plan to work very hard there to ensure that we do our part in uplifting the economic status of Black people there.
Mm. So, are there any more, which I know the answer is probably to this, conferences for 24?
Sure. We do plan to work very hard with Credential in 2024 that has begun rolling out a strategy called Blueprints for Black Wealth. And Credential is bringing a vast array of resources aimed at creating and facilitating Black wealth. And we plan to work with them in various locations. For instance, we have a partnership with the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and we plan to visit some of their regional conferences. We have a partnership with the Zeta Phi Beta sorority. We plan to work with their national convention.
Mhm.
The Omega Psi Phi fraternity is launching DeFree in Philadelphia.
Mm.
And so we plan to really be a part of their activities. In 2024, our priority focus is to really do our engagement through people's events to enhance what they're doing. For instance, CeCe Winans has a women's conference in May. She's expecting about 4,000 women. CeCe's the top gospel artist now in the world. And we plan to have a DeFree Credential activation at her conference. So
Wonderful.
that coupled with the fact that we will have a DeFree event, either FinFest conference or combination in Indianapolis. Our leader in Indianapolis is Reverend uh, Reverend Dal Webster, who is a pastor of the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church. And up the street from his church, Reverend Jeffrey Johnson has asked me to come there. So we're trying to pull together an Indianapolis event with Credential and with our local leaders. So it's going to be a busy year, the Lord knows. And between my writing and my speaking and my posting and my pushing you on Ask the Expert, I feel like the year is almost half over already.
Oh boy, slow down, slow down.
Yeah.
But sidebar, can we just say CeCe Winans, how amazing is that? And how amazing is her career? She is just on fire.
Yeah, there's no question about it. CeCe, I think, is the best example in that industry of what the Bible means when the Bible says, "No good thing will God withhold for them that walk upright." CeCe, as you know, I've been involved in contemporary gospel music since the '70s, and this is no shade on anybody else, but CeCe Winans has remained the same CeCe Winans that she was when she was running around the country with her brother BB, being left outside by promoters who wouldn't pay them. She is still primarily a Christian woman. She's a dedicated mother and now grandmother, and she's in church every Sunday. You know, she has not assumed that her professional performances are a substitute for worshiping God in the local church. So CeCe has taken off, and I just love her. We talk probably every week, and we're committed to working more closely together this year, using DeFree to enhance what she's doing, helping women grow spiritually.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So are there any other events? You said enough. I feel like you, like, whew, better get ready. Better
You
get
know,
ready.
I forgot to mention that for the first time now, we've been doing this 19 years.
Wow.
Since 2005. So this is the 19th year
Wow.
of building out the brand, the strategy, the curriculum, the movement. But
Mm.
for the first time ever,
Been that long?
we're about to release the DeFree Workbook in Spanish.
Oh, wonderful.
We've had so many requests, and it's been
Oh,
translated already. It's
wow.
being edited and proofread right now. And within a matter of weeks, we will release the DeFree 12 Steps Workbook in Spanish.
Well, with your AI, you'll be able to
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
say it in Spanish.
We didn't use AI for this because I was a little concerned about some of the nuances
Mhm.
in the Hispanic community,
Right.
but we may use AI for the Spanish translation of the video series. So
Mhm.
that's yet to be seen.
Again from the beach. Well,
Ah,
this is this is just wonderful. I'm so excited. I hope everyone else is. What would you say, before you go, to those who have been following DeFree, have been part of the community? Like, what could be their next level? So you have some that, they
yeah,
get their ear hustle on every week. They listen to our show and they use some resources, but what does it look like for them to grow with DeFree?
yeah. Here is the key to any movement and any blessing. The reality is that we intentionally designed DeFree to have 4 levels. And so financial freedom begins by getting started. It continues by getting control. It continues and extends by getting ahead, but then it culminates in giving back.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, Nicole, just to my chagrin, have really eliminated the 4th level. And they said, well,
Mhm.
once we get ours, we don't need to do anymore. But
Mhm.
level 4 is important because the assumption is that if Harriet Tubman, when she escaped slavery, would be led by God to go back and help free other slaves. Then those of us who achieve some financial freedom, when we get out of debt, when we start saving money, when we are able to pursue our needs instead of our wants, once we go through this process, then we should be involved in helping other people go through the process too. So I'm pleased to say we've had probably 600 or some odd people go through our facilitator training. It's a
Mm,
3-hour online training. It's free.
mhm,
But I think the next level is each one teach one, each
mhm,
one reach one. So whether it's your family members
mhm,
or whether it's students in your dormitory, members of your choir, or people in your sorority or fraternity, I think the next level is to teach what you've learned and
right.
to share the blessing that you've received through the
Mhm,
instruction, the encouragement, even these shows. I mean, listen, if everybody who watched Ask the Expert would share it on their social platform, share it on their Facebook page, share it on their YouTube page, we wouldn't have to work as hard to get more people to see it. So
mhm,
this year is going to be about building the community in ways that the community owns and promotes the content and the information coming from DeFree.
mhm. That's so good and almost an ouch moment because if our community depended on us to be the Harriet Tubman, so
Right.
yeah. Oh, so thank you so much for this time that you've given us. I'm so excited. I know everyone else who's listening to this are really excited as well about what's coming up for the DeFree movement. I see. I think we might have a couple of questions. Let's see. Okay, don't laugh at me, Reverend Stories, but I'm at this point.
Put them on. Put them on. I've been there for a while.
To read the questions.
I want to say Happy New Year. I've gotten so many Happy New Years
Yeah.
in the chat, and I don't know how to chat back. So let me just say to everybody, Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Oh,
Happy.
yeah. So that's good. So it's pretty much okay, wait. How many New Year doctors? Oh, Happy New Year. Oh, how do I prepare myself for opportunities for 2024?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is attitudinal, and that is what I mean by that is that there are opportunities available, like my EI. My personal goals in large measure revolve around AI, artificial intelligence. I can't stand to have the whole world discussing something I don't know what they're talking about. So
Mhm.
the key is to assume that there are opportunities out there for you to pursue, and but then to zoom in because sometimes we can pursue so many different things we don't accomplish anything.
Mhm.
And what you want to do is to zoom in on one or two at the most opportunities. They could be intellectual opportunities, economic opportunities, spiritual opportunities, and write down what your goal is. Why is that opportunity important to you? What do you plan to achieve by pursuing that opportunity? And then hold yourself accountable to the process that you need to use to achieve the outcome that you desire.
And you touch on a good point too, right? Because everything that presents itself to you may not be something that you should pursue.
Right.
And so by having your goals that you have some type of filter to be able to use, right? Would you say?
Yeah, and you
Mhm.
can track your activities to identify how they either facilitate reaching your goal or
Mhm.
distract you from reaching your goal.
Mhm.
And all you have to do is just change your mind. Just stop. If by the end of February you find that something's not working, then change your goal.
But that's such a good point because we do get married to those goals sometimes. We lose sight of what goals are meant to be and we just we stick to them. We hold on to them.
Yeah, well, sometimes our what becomes our how becomes our what. In other words,
Mhm.
we become so locked into what we are doing that we lose sight of why we were doing it. And
Mhm.
so I always want people to distinguish. I write about this in my workbook called "Say Yes When Life Says No." That always know the difference between your how and your what,
Mhm.
because sometimes your how, your tactics, your strategy
Mhm.
become so addictive that you are more focused on that than why you're doing what you're doing.
True.
Yeah.
True. Thank you. And then what are some of the things we should consider when developing strategies for personal goals?
Well, you should consider how your personal goals juxtapose with your other goals. When I say other goals, I'm talking more specifically about intellectual goals, financial goals. When I talk about personal goals, I'm talking about personal habits. I'm talking about my diet. I'm talking about exercise and workout, those things that relate to my persona, because all goals ultimately are personal. But I distinguish between my personal goals and, for instance, my intellectual goals, because in 2024, I have an intellectual goal of learning how to use 3 AI platforms. Now they're intellectual, but they're personal. Now I have financial goals also. And if I discover that learning AI is going to cost me so much that it's going to detract from my financial goals, then I have to make sure I have to adjust one or the other, because sometimes you can have goals that actually offset each other. So in the
Mhm.
back of my book, I have a chart that I use, and there's a sample of it in the back of my workbook, where you have 5 categories of goals, and you have 3 years, which means that on one side of one piece of paper, you can literally write down 3 goals per category for 3 years, which means you'll have 45 goals on one side of one piece of paper. Now that's my method. And I do that to make sure my goals are supporting each other and not um, undermining each other.
Mhm. Someone asked if you can repeat those categories,
Sure.
those goal
Um,
categories. Mhm.
and you can get the book. I think you
Yeah.
can get it. I think you can get it from Amazon or from me. I don't know where you get it, but the 5 goals: uh, intellectual goals, things that you want to learn that you don't know. Now, and don't make it too deep. One year, Nicole, my intellectual goal was to read a nonfiction, to read a fiction book, a
Mhm.
novel. I
Mhm.
had I looked up when I was in my 40s and realized I hadn't read a fiction book since I was in high school.
Right.
So that was a goal. It's an
Mhm.
intellectual goal. I want to expand my mind by
Mhm.
reading content I don't normally read. So that's one intellectual goal. 2, professional goals, or you could call them vocational goals. What is it about my profession that I want to accomplish in 2024? 3, uh, financial goals. Where do I want to be? How much savings? How much debt reduction? How much investing? Where do I want to be by December 31st, 2004, financially? 4, um,
Oh, you said personal, I think. Oh,
spiritual
spiritual.
spiritual goals.
Yeah.
Spiritual goals. How do I want my relationship with God to look like? I'm not talking about meditation is not a spiritual goal. Meditation is a strategy.
Mhm.
But what would define my relationship with God if I bumped into myself December 31st? Where do I want to be? And then what kinds of things do I need to do to get there? And then what did I say? Professional, personal, intellectual,
Spiritual.
financial, and spiritual.
Yeah,
Those
you
are the
did.
5.
Mhm. Excellent. Thank you. One of my favorite topics to discuss with you.
Right. That's right. We've been
Yes,
discussing this for years.
because I've benefited from your teachings and I just want to share it. So, okay, I think those are all of the questions right now. Yeah, this has
Great.
been good. Excellent. Thank you.
Well, listen, I
Oh,
want
wait,
you.
I'm sorry, one more popped up. What are some of the things we can do to set us apart from our competitors in 2024? Hmm.
Well, excellence is always the key factor. There are a lot of people who are public speakers as I am, and my commitment has to be the best public speaker God has enabled me to be, to use my gifts, to work hard on it, not to take it for granted, to prepare, even though I'm experienced, um, to take every audience seriously, to stay humble and know that I could mess up. So I think a commitment to excellence is the best way to consider distinguishing yourself from your competitors. Because if you're not careful, see, there are two mistakes we make often. Mistake number one is to be unaware of our competitors and assume that we're the only slice of bread in the world, right? So
Mhm.
that's one mistake. So you have to be aware of your competitors. But the second mistake we make is on the other side of the spectrum, and that is to be so focused on our competitors that we are intimidated or discouraged or distracted. So a commitment to excellence is the key to dealing with competition because the poet said if you build a better mousetrap, then if you do it in the middle of the forest, the world will find you and beat a path to you because you've got the best mousetrap.
Excellent. Yes. And I appreciate you saying, you of all people who been speaking since, I don't know, your teens maybe,
Right.
um, you say that you don't take that for granted and that you wanna sharpen those skills still to this day. So that's really, eye-opening.
Yeah. Excellence. Excellence is the
Mhm.
key. A commitment to excellence.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate this time.
So my closing words.
Mhm.
The key to financial success, I
Mhm.
believe, just as the key to any success, is to have the best advice that you can receive.
Hmm.
You know, my preaching changed drastically when I met Sam Proctor. Sam Proctor was in my mind the preeminent preacher in the country. He's written books on preaching. He was Martin Luther King's mentor, and he took me and his instruction shaped me on levels I never thought I could produce. And my doctors, I mean my lawyers, I don't care what aspect of my life I consider, I try to get the best expertise and advice I can find. The same thing is true with finances. And unfortunately, not enough people are taking advantage of our ability to get them professional financial advice. It happens to come from Prudential. Prudential is $1 trillion company. And Prudential has said, we will go wherever DeFree goes, and we will have our professionals, our experts, sit down with DeFree members, DeFree followers, DeFree participants to give them professional financial advice. And not enough people take advantage of that. And what I love about Prudential is that they're not shoving products down people's throats. They're literally sitting down with people, helping them think through their financial strategies and options without regard to potential products. So I would urge you in 2024 to take us up on our offer to connect you with a well-trained, licensed financial professional and have a chat with them. It's free, and they may tell you something that will change your life. There are people, for instance, who have been working on their job for years. They've got money in a 401k. They don't know where it is. They don't know how to find it. They don't know how it's invested. This is what financial professionals help us with. Then there are other people who are just starting in the workplace, and they really don't know what to do besides get paid and spend the money.
Mhm.
So all of us, every one of us, the same way we need a dentist, we need a primary care physician. Each one of us needs a financial professional. And I'm grateful to God for the 11 years that Prudential
Mm.
has been our partners, helping us help our community. So take us up on that.
Yeah, and that's another win too. That's unheard of, a lot to have a corporate sponsor for such a long time. So that's pretty awesome.
It really is. I'm
Mhm.
humbled by that, and I'm
Mhm.
grateful to all of the executives at Prudential. And our relationship should now grow because they now have this campaign, this intentional strategy that's aimed at the Black community.
Mhm.
They've been doing things in Black communities for the last 60 years at least,
Mhm.
but this year is the most intentional Prudential has ever been
Mhm.
about aiming their resources at Black consumers and Black families, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Wow. Well, thank you, Prudential. We appreciate them.
All right.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Another edition of Ask the Expert. And we were here with our fearless visionary, Dr. DeForest B. Soaries Jr., and we are grateful for his leadership and his presence today. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. God bless.